So, if I ask you whether our brain can function without our spine, what will be your answer? It's easy peasy, right? Of course, our brain can't function if our spine don't hold it. So, the same goes for our work too. For that reason, if you want to complete our work, we have to have these four must basic components, which are focus, self-discipline, action, and to be persistence. If any one of the four components missed out from our work, then we cannot follow through and ultimately we can't finish what we have started. So today in this video, I'll be giving you guys three main branding components which will actually help you to finish your work what you have started. So the three main basic components are why you can't action, why you can't continue after starting your action, and how to build our productivity system to finish what we have started. So this video is actually a book review of Finish What You Have Started, written by Peter Hollins. So let's start. So as I have told earlier that I will be explaining three branding components which will help you to complete your work. So the first branding component is why you can't action. Okay, so this is the first part where we all struggle because we can start our work. We don't get the motivation to work, all right? So the things that actually resist us from doing our work will be explained from now on. Okay, so the first point that resists us from taking an action is lacking any parts. So let's say, as we have told earlier, that there are four basic things that actually help us to complete our work. So the four basic things are focus, self-discipline, action, and persistence. So let's say, compare these four basic components with our human body. Let's say focus is the head, and then self-discipline is the spine, then action is the hands and arms, and persistence is the heart. So if I ask you whether our heart or whether our brain can function without our heart being pumped all those nutrients, no, it can't function, right? We all are, let's say our all organs need each other's support. So that's how these four components, focus, self-discipline, action, and persistence, needs each other's support. That means you can't complete a work or you can't action without any of the four components being missed. So you have to take care of that. And the next point that resists us from taking an action is setting unrealistic goals. Now, what does this mean? We actually set goals, right? But what are unrealistic goals? So unrealistic goals are those which are beyond our hands. Okay, so let's say you want to be hired in Tesla company, but you have nothing related to that. You have done no study related to that background, but you really need to get hired. So that's not quite possible. Yes, you have to study hard. You have to study those things which are related to Tesla company. Then it might be possible. But before that, you can just throw a target in a black room. Oh wow. Okay, so that's the thing. You don't have to set unrealistic goals, because two things might happen which Peter Hollins has mentioned in his book, that if we set unrealistic goals, two things might happen. The first thing is that happens before doing the work, and that is we get really tensed or stressed out or become overwhelmed when we still haven't started the action. We are tensed about it, whether it will go fine or not, whether we will be failure or not. These things will go in our mind before the action, and if unfortunately that action is not completed successfully, then another tension arises, which is we are a failure, we are a loser, we will blame ourselves, etc. So if you are setting unrealistic goals, these two unfortunate actions or these two unfortunate results are likely to happen. So for that reason, you have to stay away from setting unrealistic goals. The third point which resists us from actioning is psychological roadblocks. Now, what are psychological roadblocks? So you have felt that before starting any kind of action or before starting any kind of exam, we feel like we might be a loser, or people might judge us. People might think like I am not aware of everything, I am not suitable for this position or for this result. All these things will be going on in your mind, and these things will ultimately lead into stressful life or anxiety, depression, etc. So these are kind of psychological roadblocks. This will actually refrain you from taking any kind of action. Let's say this is you and this is your step or the action you are going to take, and the psychological roadblocks, if happens, that the barrier between you and your actions. So you have to refrain from that too. Alright, so the fourth point that will actually resist you from taking an action is temptations and distractions. We all know what temptations and distractions are. Let's say you are studying for long 1 hour and now you are somehow distracted. Let's say someone has entered your room and you are distracted now you are feeling like you need to watch Netflix. So after sitting for Netflix, you have spent 1 to 2 hours watching Netflix, and whereas you have still an assignment to do which you have to submit the day after, like the next day. But what you have done is you have misused your time in watching Netflix rather than doing your study. So that's a distraction or kind of temptation which have worked both. Like the distraction is someone has entered your room, and the temptation is you were tempted to watch Netflix instead of studying. So if you aren't controlling all these things, then I'm sorry, but you cannot take any action, and forget about continuing after taking an action, because as you haven't taken an action, there are no chance that you are continuing that work. Now, from the 3 branding components, now I'll be explaining the second part. Let's say you have started your action, you have taken the action, but now what? To reach the conclusion, you have to continue doing that action. All right. So what are the things that might disrupt your continuing part? So now we will explain those things. So the first point is procrastination, our very own enemy. So procrastination is a thing which is used by everyone, single person of the world. So Peter Hollins has mentioned one thing in this book, which is productive procrastination. That's quite like simple, but it really attacks our continuing part. How? So Peter Hollins has mentioned one way we procrastinate the most, which is through endless plannings. Now, what are endless plannings? That means, let's say you are now sitting on your desk and planning for the whole week, what you will be doing in the whole week. Okay, so you really don't know whether you will be able to do the work tomorrow, but you are planning for the whole week. That's a good thing, but you are not even following the plan which you have to follow for tomorrow. How you can follow for the whole week? So you are just planning for the whole week and you have like no plans how I can execute those plans. You are just planning, you are just endlessly planning. So this endlessly planning and not doing or not taking any action is like just rotating around a blank point, or rotating like a circle. You're just not doing any kind of action, like, but you are feeling like you are doing an action, but in reality you are just rotating like a circle. Okay, so you are not moving from your comfort zone, but you are feeling like, oh my god, I am working so much, but in reality you are just rotating like a circle. So this is what productive procrastination is. Okay, so the second point that actually disrupts our continuing part after taking an action is attention residue. Now, what is attention residue? So in 2009, Sophie Loray published a paper that was titled as "Why is it so hard to do my work?" And in that paper, it was published, or it was stated as attention residue. For example, you have studied biology for one hour, and now you are shifting your study level to studying chemistry. Okay, so you have studied biology, that's task A, and chemistry is your task B, and you have suddenly closed your biology book and shifted to chemistry. That is not going to happen, because a part of your task A has gone to task B, and now you are not able to concentrate on your chemistry part. So for that reason, try to take a 5-minute break, or try to just calm down your brain so that you can study chemistry clearly, so that no any kind of attention residue or any kind of residue of task A don't interfere your task B. So that's one thing that actually disrupts our tasks. Now we will see the third branding components is what are the productivity tools that will actually help us to complete what we have started from the very first. Okay, so this part will actually help you to complete your tasks, which we rarely do. Okay, so first of all, the point is temptation bundling. Now, what is temptation bundling? You'll understand the whole scenario if you go through that book, follow what you start. So in this video, I will just explain us in a simpler way and just go through the main term. So temptation bundling is, let's say you have to study biology, but also you have a temptation of eating Snickers right now. All right, so that's a kind of your guilty pleasure, And this is the thing, like studying biology is the thing that you have to do for a long-term result. All right, we humans want instant gratification, but is that possible every time? No, right? But like, for that reason, we have to build our habit in a way that we will be bundling our temptation with our tasks. So we have to collaborate those things to complete our tasks, and also similarly to complete our temptations. Okay, so let's say you have to study biology, and also you have to you are in a mood to eat sneakers, so just grab a sneakers and like study while you are eating. So what you have done is completed your temptation, and also you have like started studying too. This is the thing how you have to like balance your situation. So Peter Hollins has mentioned a way that you have to make two columns, and on one side you have to mention your guilty temptation, and on the other side you have to mention the things you have to do for achieving your goals. Now the next productivity tool is about reaffirming your intentions. Now you have intended to complete your biology whole book because you have to get an A in your exam. Now this is our kind of motivation, which is we'll be getting a long-term gratification in our life if I get an A in my biology, in my, let's say, in my higher secondary exam. Okay, so this is your goal. Okay, this will help you in the long term, but somehow you got distracted. Now what you have to do, you have to reaffirm your intentions again. You can do it by your external motivators or internal motivators, but you have to mention these three things to yourself which will help you to reaffirm your intentions. And these three things are: I want, I will, I won't. Okay, so how you will do is, I want to get an A in my biology exam from in my higher secondary final biology exam. Okay, that's one kind of like setting your mind, okay, setting your subconscious mind. The second point is, I won't. So I won't waste my time in playing games or watching unnecessary things on YouTube or Netflix, which isn't really a long-term thing of mine. So this thing you have to reaffirm too. And the third thing is, I will. Okay, so I will try to achieve or try to complete these chapters by tonight, and the next day I will do this, and after a week my book will be complete by revision, and then I'm ready for my exam. So through these three things, you have to reaffirm your intentions. The third productivity tool that will help you to achieve what you have started is just 10 minutes. So Peter Hollins mentioned this thing as in the book, like, if you have forced yourself to do something productive for 10 minutes, you might end up doing it for 15 or even 20 minutes. So let me explain in a more simpler way, and that is, I don't know whether you guys have faced this or not, but before reading this book, I have already faced this situation, and it really works, trust me. So let's say you are studying, and suddenly you are just intriguing yourself to grab a something, like you have to watch a Netflix series, let's say Lock and Key, but you have to study too. So what you will do, you have to resist yourself that no, I'll be sitting here on my desk for 10 minutes long, and I will see whether that temptation is still with me or not. Like watching Netflix, the temptation is still with me or not. If it's with me, then I will just get up from my desk and watch Netflix for like 15 minutes or 20 minutes. Okay, but if it isn't with you, just continuing study, and trust me, after watching your clock, you will see that not 10 minutes, 20 minutes has passed, and you are still concentrating on your study. This has happened to me. Okay, so what you have to do is just resist yourself, or just calm down yourself and continue your working for just 10 minutes after that temptation or distraction. Just 10 minutes, okay? And you will feel like you are again, like you are getting again consuming in your study. So that's how just a 10-minute session work. Productivity tool now I'll mention is about batching. Okay, so what is batching? Let's understand in the words Peter Hollins has explained. He said that batching is when you group similar tasks together to complete them at once. Familiar, right? So let me tell you in an example. Let's say you are studying biology, and like you have a test tomorrow of biology subject, and you have an assignment of biology which you have to submit 2 days from now. Okay, so as a human, I know that you will be doing that assignment very last moment. Okay, all right. So that's the thing. But what you can do is, after completing your biology lecture, you can easily sit for your biology assignment, because your lecture and assignment is related to one subject, which is biology. So here what you are doing is you are combining two similar things together. You are batching two similar things so that the similar tasks are completed at once. So this is how you can become more productive, and you can also save your time doing, like, you can also do other works at the very last moment of submitting your biology assignment. You will feel more relieved. Okay, so that's the main point. So the last point, or the last productive tool that will help you to complete your work, is very important, and that's it. Don't do list. So what's that? We always have understand we need to have a to-do list, but what's a don't do list? So trust me, don't do list is better than to-do list. Okay, so you have to obviously make your to-do list, because you have to, if you are like, our human mind is kind of like, it's capable of producing ideas over time, but it's not capable of remembering or keeping those ideas for a longer time. So what you have to do is just jot down your to-do list. Okay, so for that reason, to-do list is necessary. But don't do list will take lesser time than you don't to-do list. That means the time that you needed for making your to-do list, you will need lesser time to make your don't do list, because you know yourself better which kind of things will distract you from your work. All right, so while doing to-do list, we have to think, oh, I have to do that, I have to do this, all right, so yes, I have to do that too. So this kind of things will come to your mind, and it will take a kind of like more time. But in don't do list, what you will mention is, I won't watch Netflix the day before my exam, I won't eat unhealthy, I won't sleep for a longer time, I won't waste my time playing video games. These are my don't do list. That means you have to do everything other than your don't do list. Isn't that much easier? You already have your don't do list, and you have to do everything other than your don't do list. So that's your to do list, and this is your don't do list. So if you guys enjoyed this video and found this video informative, then you can also check this playlist out which I have made, and this is actually a playlist of self-improvement videos which is really fine. And if you are finding this video helpful, then you can find this playlist helpful too. And also you can watch this video, which is how to study effectively. I have mentioned some of the scientific ways, which are like scientifically proven ways of studying like smart and to remember for a longer time. You can watch this video. And also please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It helps me a lot to grow. And you can follow me on my social media, link in the description. So thank you for watching this video. We will meet inshallah in the next video again with some new informative ideas. Till then, stay safe and Eid Mubarak.